get this party rolling, right?
And you get to sing and you get to talk and everything.
And everything.
And masks are optional.
Yes, even sitting for a while, so you can stand up and we can sing, I Am Alive. I'm alive, alive in spirit. I'm alive, alive and free. I'm alive, alive in spirit. I'm alive, spirit flows through me. I'm alive, alive in spirit. I'm alive, alive and free. I'm alive, alive in spirit. I'm alive, spirit flows through me. Now one more time. I'm alive, alive in spirit. I'm alive, alive and free. I'm alive, alive in spirit. I'm alive, spirit flows through me. Well, happy 4th of July, everyone. Thank you for being here. Wonderful to see you. Okay. Oh, you want me to do it? I can do it. Okay. So if you all would like to turn to the back of your order of service, we have our affirmation for Center for Spiritual Living, La Crescenta. And let's say this with feeling because we can do that now. All right. We are a loving spiritual community that offers opportunity for personal growth and joyful self-expression. We are passionately dedicated to welcoming a diversity of people, activities, and ideas. We open our hearts and minds to the expression of compassion and the experience of personal growth as we live and practice science of mind principles. All right.
We're almost back in the swing of things. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, La Crescenta, where it's our dream to help you build and manifest your dreams. The one thing that we have that we are still going to continue doing is have our offertory plate in the middle of the aisle. I think I told you I've been calling the health department. They said it's not a good idea to pass the plate, whatever that means. So we're going to leave that there for a while. Other than that, we're back to our normal order of service. Isn't that wonderful? And now our soloist of the day is our own Cecilia Sellis.
Cecilia.
Happy 4th of July.
You too, Cecilia.
Beautiful, Cecilia. Thank you so much. Boy, that got your heart pounding, made you happy to be citizen of the United States. So how lovely is that?
Now we can't meditate.
Well, of course we can meditate. You know, all you got to do is just take a breath and take another breath and just breathe into that wonderful aliveness that we're feeling and feeling that wonderful patriotic music that we were just listening to, and know that on the birthday of our nation, we can say thank you and so happy to be alive in this place where we can have an opinion and we can disagree with somebody else who has a different opinion, and it's all okay. So let's just take a nice, relaxing, centering breath to bring us back and be so grateful that we live here in the US of A, where the freedom to be who we are meant to be and that beautiful, infinite potential is with us always. And how joyful we feel today celebrating. And I know many of you are going to go on to family celebrations, and that is part of this wonderful 4th of July, to celebrate our freedom, to celebrate the infinite possibilities that are there with us here in the US. And this is Spirit working through us, working as us in the joyful creation of wonderful opportunities, of excellent relationships, wonderful health, stamina, and of course, peace in our hearts. And that we know that the peace that begins within us, the peace that is part of the love and the beauty and the wisdom that is Spirit, and that is us as well. We spread this peace, we spread the joy and the love and the beauty and the wisdom by accepting all these gifts of Spirit. And all these gifts are working through us every day. And as we personify these gifts of Spirit, that peace and the love and the joy and the beauty and the wisdom that we are always surrounded with, that we can always tap in, and that we can share this wonderful warmth, this embodiment of Spirit with our family. We can share it with others. We can speak, we can hug, we can shake hands, we can praise Spirit by speaking the beauty of the words that give joy, that give warmth and camaraderie and community to whomever we are with. And as we recognize the presence in our life, and we know that this wonderful, magnificent Spirit is just working through us in every way to bring us to our highest and greatest good. We don't always know what that's going to look like, but it surely comes as we affirm goodness and more goodness in our life. and it's all God. Therefore, it is all good. And the gifts of the Spirit are here to bring us to where we're supposed to be, in the joy, in the love, in the laughter, in the kindness and compassion that is working through us every single day. So we open our arms, we open our minds to the beauty that is Spirit working in our lives, knowing that there is only good that comes to us. Our path is always strewn with the love of God. And as we acknowledge Spirit in our life, and we acknowledge the things that come to us, the wonderful experiences, we know it's all that goodness that we keep recognizing and we keep claiming as ours. So with a very joyful heart today, celebrating the birthday of our country, we know that this joy and happiness and peace and love is spreading. It's spreading through us in that beautiful ripple effect everywhere that is community. For we know that in God there are no others. It is the oneness of God, us within that oneness, and everyone, everything, every experience is all part of that one life and one mind and one love. So we can direct these words into the divine law of mind, knowing that as we speak these words, God's working in our life to make it so. And we can all affirm together, and so it is. So let's now join in song and sing, and so it is. God is all there is. I am one with the Spirit. I realize the truth, and I speak it. I am thankful for it all. I release it. I let it go. And so it is. And so it is. I know it is, and I receive as I believe. Amen. 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 Okay, and so now we have our reading from our Science of Mind textbook by Ernest Holmes. And today the lesson is on page 488. The law of God is one of liberty. And this is the metaphysical interpretations of Corinthians 3:17. The law of God is one of liberty and not of bondage. The Spirit of the Lord is everywhere. Freedom and liberty are also everywhere if we could but see them. Freedom, like truth, is self-existent and self-propelling. The Spirit, truth, and freedom are coexistent with one another. Whenever we are conscious of God or pure spirit, we are made free. This is proven in mental and spiritual healing. When we are conscious of perfect life, the body is healed. We must become unconscious of the imperfect and conscious of the perfect alone. Since our ideas of perfection are limited to our present understanding, we do not yet manifest perfection. With a greater unfoldment of reality through our consciousness, we shall evolve a more perfect body. In the demonstration of abundance, we seek to realize the liberty of the sons of God, the freedom whereby God proves his absoluteness. It is done not by meditation upon limitation, but by contemplating plenty, abundance, success, prosperity, and happiness. It is unscientific to dwell upon lack, for it will create the undesired condition. It is scientific to meditate on plenty, to bring the mind to a point of conceiving an eternal flow of life, truth, and energy through us and through everything that we do, say, or think. And so it is. And we've got our congregational song, We Are One. You should know this, we sung it in the past. This is our refreshment. It is clear to me how each day may be full of friends for me to learn from. I am one, I am beautiful, I am one, I am joy, I am one with the universe, I am love. And the world may be a discovery of great majesty to learn from. You are one, you are beautiful, you are one, you are joy, you are one with the universe, you are love. And the universe, such a fantasy, full of mystery to learn from. We are one, we are beautiful, we are one, we are joy, we are one with the universe, we are love. And on the top of the second page of our order of service, we have the affirmation of the month. So 1, 2, 3, all together. I am full of life and filled with gratitude. I am worthy of all things wonderful, and so it is. Now we get to listen to Cecilia's beautiful music once again.
Cecilia, you are amazing. Wasn't that incredible? Whenever I'm preparing a lesson, and particularly when it's a themed lesson like for 4th of July or Freedom, I always reflect on things that have happened to me during the 4th of July. And I'm remembering one time, I'm laughing, but it wasn't funny, I guess. We were in our backyard, lots of people were there, we had tables out, and I don't know what the guys were thinking, but they lit something that made everything look like it was on fire. And I remember looking at my mother, and she was very frightened. She grabbed the bowl in front of her. I don't know what she thought she was going to do with that bowl, but I wasn't frightened. I just thought, well, what's going on here? I was too young to be frightened then. The other one I'm remembering was we had a man-made lake nearby. And as I'm speaking, just reflect back on the 4th of July and that you've experienced in your life. And this was everybody could be invited. And all you had to do was pay $5 a car. And they fed you and everything. Can you imagine with my large family? What my father thought, for $5, yeah, I'll go. So we went out there and had a good time and had a picnic, and we had the fireworks later. And I don't know what your plans are for today, but I guess that Rose Bowl is going to be something else. Anybody here going to go to the Rose Bowl? Not me. I don't want to be there with 40,000 people. I'm not, even if there wasn't a COVID thing, I wouldn't go. I'm not a crowd person. So Dag Hammarskjöld, who was from the United Nations, this is his quote: "Freedom from fear could be said to sum up the whole philosophy of human rights." Freedom from fear could be said to sum up the whole philosophy of human rights. Isn't that interesting? So finally, accepting the non-permanence of external conditions, we are at liberty to experience life fully. My grandmother had a quote, I really liked it. She said, "No road is so long it doesn't take a turn." Thanksgiving is not to be celebrated only once a year, but each moment of every day. Clear thinking, harmonious feeling, and intelligent actions bring us to the sweet release of negative patterns. We do not revisit former limitations, only give thanks that we have formed healthy new patterns and live in freedom. This is why I am so happy that I learned about science of mind. The way it came about, I was teaching a nutrition class, and I had become acquainted with Emmett Fox's books in many, many years before. And I liked him so much as an author that I went to a local bookstore and bought every book he wrote. I came out with a big stack. But I thought at the time, interesting how we form our belief systems. I believed that New Thought was a textbook ministry. But what I did from what I read was I incorporated that into my teaching. I was teaching nutrition at the time. And one of my students said, "You need to go to that church. They talk like you do." And that was the Whittier at the time, Whittier Church of Religious Science. Don McCart was the minister, and he was great fun. And that was 1977, and I have been in this philosophy ever since. And so pleased to be here, because when we are not on the right path, we know it. There's that part of us that knows it. Then we could go back to principle Everything is back to principle. When we focus on negative, we get more negative. We have to always understand to be kind and loving. I remember when I was really young, I was walking home from working at the Burlington Cafe that you've all heard so much about. I was walking with the dishwasher. She was quite a lady too. And I was raised by a very critical father. And I have to say, when it is modeled for you, sometimes you do that as well, right? And so I was doing some kind of a critical thing, I said, and Marie said to me, I want you to know, for every finger you point, there are 3 pointing back at you. And I think that's a good thing to remember. And Jesus told us, judge not, lest ye be judged. So this is an affirmation that I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. I have learned to be free of erroneous beliefs and am deeply grateful for my ever-expanding faith. I have learned to be free of erroneous beliefs.
I have learned to be free of erroneous beliefs
And am deeply grateful,
and am deeply grateful
and this is the most important part, for my ever-expanding faith.
for my ever-expanding faith.
Yes, I have learned to be free of erroneous beliefs and am deeply grateful for my ever-expanding faith. Eckhart Tolle said, whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. The one thing that can really pull me into fear is car problems. And is always the case. Spirit brought the experience to me a couple of weeks ago, and it wasn't fun. Well, I was driving on Chevy Chase in La Cañada, and I don't know if you've ever driven it. My neighbor told me that was the easiest way to get to the country club where I was going for an award for teenagers. And as I'm driving, a loud bang, really a loud bang. And I thought, I wonder if someone's shooting at me, with all the things going on. And all this came up. And so I pulled over and I called the sheriff. And I said, I'm on my way to the Chevy Chase Country Club that's in Glendale. And they said, well, then you need to call the Glendale police. And I go, I'm in La Cañada. That is the sheriff's jurisdiction. And she said, well, we can call the highway patrol. Do you want to have them meet you? I said, you know what? I've got to get to this meeting. Just forget it. So the next morning, I went to the sheriff's department, and a deputy looked at it, and she doesn't look like a projectile hit it. I still don't know what caused it, but it was a mirror, and it was shattered. I mean, really shattered. And so I went to my mechanic. $200 later, I have a new mirror. But that wasn't wonderful. And I still don't know what caused it. So the one thing that we always have to remember, go back to principle. When I was a practitioner, and they would say this to us, go back to principle. I go, what the heck is that? What we focus on expands. So we turn away from conditions and turn toward that which we would want, whatever it is we want. So I was thinking and contemplating the reason I react as I do. After digging deeper, I began to realize that I was locked in a trance most of the time, a trance created by my egoic mind, a trance shaped by fear during my formative years. My psyche was trying to protect me from the fear and lack of safety I felt when growing up. It was trying to keep me safe. And I have to qualify this here. The Course in Miracles, which I really, really like, makes the ego out to be the bad guy. I just think the ego needs to be educated. That's my interpretation of it. My childhood interpretation of the events I experienced, combined with non-compassionate, and non-understanding authority figures led my psyche to decide the best way to deal with life was to retreat to a place of safety and hide, to not get involved or be exposed in any way. Boy, that's the old me, isn't it? It met any situation or event that it interpreted as fearful with vigorous resistance. As most things in life contain some element of fear and anticipation, especially new things. When I first moved up here, you're gonna laugh, but when I first moved up here, driving to the Galleria for the first time scared the liver out of me. And I was so thrilled that I could do that. The irony is that my mind's way of rescuing me was to paralyze me with feelings of dread, worry, and anxiety, coupled with the physical feelings associated with panic. Didn't have much of a spiritual life there then, but I did go to church. I was raised in the Congregational church. Obviously, I didn't get the message. It's not easy when your egoic mind has spent the greater part of your life trying to convince you that it is the only place where you are safe. Over the years, the egoic mind has plenty of time to really go to town, building a devilishly intricate trance machine that becomes deeply entrenched in the psyche. Mine was so entrenched that I thought it was me until I found religious science. What I'm learning from my spiritual practices has helped me to move through the emotion of fear. We need to realize that we truly are not our thoughts, and to be mindful of our thoughts. Our thoughts come from the egoic mind. We are the awareness that hears the thoughts. Think about it. When you talk to yourself inside your mind, to whom are you actually talking? It is your awareness, and that is who you are. That is your being, not the thoughts. Not the thoughts. Your thoughts are just constructs of your egoic mind. You can actually choose to let them float on by without believing or engaging them, should you choose to. But as a child, I didn't know any better. And as a child, World War II was over, but still remained were all of the things that happened. And I have told you this before, but I really want you to understand that if you've had fear things in your childhood, I've forgiven that thought now. But I had a neighbor who told me that one of our adversaries was coming and they were going to bomb us. I think I was probably 5 or 6, and I was just terrified. And this happened more than once, and every time I'd go home and cry. So finally, the last time this girl said it, I went home crying. My mother said, "Yep, they're coming in. They're looking for Karen Barnes." And she said, "Oh my God, they are coming," and ran home. I never heard it again. But in that minute, I was terrified. And my mom said to me, "Get over it, kid. The war's over. It's done." So understand, it is not your fault that your mind is causing you such discomfort. It's a product of evolution. Back in the days of caves and things with sharp, pointy teeth, you were more likely to survive if you were ever vigilant of danger, meaning the genes that favored this behavior were more than likely to be passed down to us. Thanks a lot, right? The egoic mind thinks it is helping you by keeping you safe and trapped inside a trance. It is not its fault, and you have to face your trance thoughts with compassion and love and be able to forgive yourself. It really isn't your fault. You need to say, "This isn't me. This isn't me." And I've told you this before, and you can do this. I have a fog clerk in my brain, And I just say, delete that. Delete that. I don't want to hear that anymore. Except I had a song that kept going through my mind the other day that it just wouldn't stop. I was trying to delete it. It wasn't working. Use meditation and mindfulness throughout the day. Learn to see the space between the real you, which is awareness, and the egoic mind as its thoughts race by. Observe thoughts for what they are, just thoughts. Try not to allow yourself to become absorbed in your thoughts and go into trance, but do not punish yourself if you do. Again, I was thinking about fear times in my life, and I've mentioned before about my son when he had meningitis, which was not a real wonderful thing. He was 2, not quite 3. And I was in such a trance one day, and so worried, and I knew religious science at the time. I hadn't taken any classes yet. I was so worried that I drove right by the hospital. That's the trance I was in. So you see, we can, as my mother's statement was, worry yourself sick. You don't have to do that. Be kind and compassionate to yourself. When you recognize you've drifted away, and start fresh in the moment, returning to the state of mindful awareness whenever you can. Identify the trance thoughts and emotions as they arise and name them. For example, oh, this is fear. I am feeling just fear. Or I feel you dread and worry. It's okay, but I'm letting you go right here and right now. Or hello, shame and unworthiness. I see you for who you are, for what you are, and release those. Now, when you're willing to release negativity from your mind and your body and your emotions, the Holy Spirit will take you the rest of the way. You have to be willing to let them go. Your technique of compassionate recognition, you recognize them, will reduce the power they have over you as you have exposed them for what they really are. Just thoughts. Remember that it takes perseverance and practice, and lots of it, but that's okay. That's what we're here. We're here to learn. Another fun thing we inherited from our ancestors is that the fear of something can become embedded in our long-term memory, even after a single brief exposure to it. Conversely, it takes much longer and repeated exposure to positive stimuli before they are committed to long-term memory. My mother was a very wise woman, and when I listened to her, I was okay. But if I didn't, I would get in trouble. One time she said, don't go down to the river because you'll fall in. I went down the river and I fell in. After that, I listened to my mom. Each time you notice yourself in a state of negativity, use it as an opportunity to practice, to mindfully observe your thoughts with acceptance and compassion. And I'll go back to Gerald Jampolsky's book, Be Who You Are, Love. We are here to practice to be unconditional love. When we notice those thoughts, we can just release them. We choose. It has to be a choice. We choose to release them. This will allow them to flow through and out of you rather than be kept inside to be constantly recycled. And I believe that if we embody lots and lots and lots and lots of negative thoughts, it can make us sick. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to hang on to them. Don't beat yourself up. If you find it difficult to let go of thinking negative thoughts, well, let me tell you, I forget how many thoughts a day we're supposed to have, into the thousands. Be patient and compassionate with yourself. It takes more than a few days to learn to read and write. it will take time to calm the egoic mind and let awareness shine through, because our awareness is our higher self, that divinity within us shining through us. Our lives, our bodies, our minds, our spirits are filled with the light and the love of God. And we don't want to tarnish it with negative thoughts, negative judgments. We just don't want to do that because we want to live happily ever after. So this is the path, my friends, I've begun to walk. I've begun to let go of expectations about others and myself, to learn to be compassionate and to love myself, to accept who I am and where I am at this moment, to try not to judge others or myself, to know that in this moment, everything is okay. And what I've been doing lately is rather interesting. When someone does something that is newsworthy and I hear about it, I'm sad that people have made the choice to hurt other individuals and not paid attention, not been mindful of what they were thinking. So on this 4th of July, understand, living in this great country of ours, you are free to express as you choose. You are free, and to live, love, laugh, and be happy. And so ends our lesson.
So now we're going to have our musical affirmation. This would be our time for our offering, and we do have our plate at the back of the sanctuary here. But let's just all affirm how blessed we truly are. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful, I am so blessed. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so thankful, I am so blessed. And now we can all read together our offertory ideas about sharing. I am enough and I have enough. I am a magnet for the experiences I most desire. Amen. Excuse me. All right, and so in this wonderful moment in the community of our church, we are so very grateful for the offerings and the gifts that everyone has given this day. We know that as we receive these gifts, they are multiplied abundantly and returned to the giver again, multiplied abundantly. And so it is. And the announcements now. Excuse me, I got a cough again. That'd be great. Andy, okay, well, here we are for July 4th, 2021. We are asking for volunteers to bring the barrels back in after they've been emptied by our trash collectors on Monday. Carol and Bart Bingaman have done this task for a year and some, and now they are asking to turn it over to someone else. Thank you so much, Carol and Bart. The art studio has returned and meets in Chafee Hall on Thursdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Gerald Rivers' drumming class meets on Mondays at 7 p.m. and they are meeting in our sanctuary. Robin Whitlaw's nature drawing and art journaling now on Zoom, and her contact information is on the back of our order of service. There is Yoga with Joe that is also now on Zoom. Her classes are Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 11:40 a.m. Again, contact information for Joe is on the back of the order of service. Naomi Varsh is our chef of the day. Her special 4th of July menu is a veggie platter, beef and chicken hot dogs with a choice of toppings, chili, cheese, sauerkraut, chips, and for dessert, root beer floats and California trifle. Okay, so please remember to thank Naomi for preparing our lunch today. She does such a wonderful job. And here is our Sunday funny from our Reader's Digest. So it's nice and short. Mortified doesn't describe how Jane's parents felt after meeting her boyfriend. He sported vile tattoos, swore, and just had a hostile air about him. After he left, the mother said, "Dear, he doesn't seem like a very nice person." "Mom," Jane said, "if he wasn't nice, why would he be doing 500 hours of community service?" Okay. All right. Well, we're at the end of our service here. So we've got the benediction by Reverend Beverly, and then we'll be singing the peace song.
And please, let these words be your words. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It's happening through my mind,
It's happening through my mind,
my body,
my body,
and every aspect of my life.
and every aspect of my life.
I think it,
I think it,
I know it,
I know it,
I believe it,
I believe it,
I accept it.
I accept it.
I'm never alone,
I'm never alone.
for God is right where I am,
God is right where I am.
and so it is.
So it is.
Okay, let's hear the joy in your heart because we're singing. Let there be peace. Let there be peace on earth, now it has begun with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Peace has begun with me, so this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, now it has begun with me. And so it is.
I want to go to fireworks and all that.